Hello everybody, it's Miss Chocolate, and today I'm going to show you how to make a DIY Valentine's Day card because it's coming up, and what's better than a handmade card? Although I am single, so all the single peeps say hey. So I used some Daler Rowney Aquafine watercolor paper. It's the postcard version, so basically there's like postcard stuff printed at the other side, but it didn't really matter because that part would be covered up anyways. I used some regular masking tape to tape down my piece of paper to my board, and I just kind of reduced its stickiness by sticking it onto my hand first before I taped it down, because I remember last time I didn't do that and it tore the paper and it was not pretty. So once that was done, I used some masking fluid. I think it's by Dr. P.H. Martins. You will see very soon in this clip. Where are you? Yes, there it is. So I just used that masking fluid with a brush. It's kind of coarse bristles, but I basically made a really rough sketch of a heart, and the problem with this was that it dried really fast, so I couldn't really get it to be how I wanted, but I did want a very rough looking heart. I didn't want it to be too perfect, so I just kind of went over a couple times with the masking fluid until I was happy with how it was. And I did have to go back and use the dropper thing to make it a bit better. But in the end, it was how I wanted it to be, and I just kind of let that dry for a bit first. And then I brought out my watercolors. So I'm using pink, red, and purple. Pink because I mixed the red with the white, because colors, woohoo. So I went over the watercolor piece with just some regular water using my brush so that I could kind of map out where I wanted the paint to go, because I wanted it to have kind of a splatter effect, and it just makes it easier to wet it down first and then just drop the paint in so that it kind of spreads to where I want it to go, which is where the water is. So I basically just kind of dropped the paint in and maneuvered it however I wanted it to be. So first the pink, then the red, and then the purple. And somehow, I don't know why, but once the card was dry, the red kind of looked a bit like the pink, which is a bit weird, but I just kind of dropped it wherever I wanted it to be. I used my tissue to pick up some excess paint, which you will see soon, where I felt like it was too much or something like that. And I also added some water droplets going outwards to make it look a bit more splattered, because I felt like it looked too, not perfect, but it just looks too like contained and doesn't really give the splatter effect. So I just kind of put some extra droplets going outwards, which you will see later in the video. After the recording stopped, I also went and added a bit more purple because I felt like it was a little bit too light after I picked it up with my tissue. So I'm just gonna add some music and let you guys watch what I did. So I just used my hairdryer to let that dry a little bit faster, and then I went back and removed the masking fluid, and it came off really easily for the most part, but it kind of tore the paper a bit on the left side, which you'll see soon. And to cover that up, I just used some water on my brush and I wet down the part where the paper was torn so that it would just stick back once it dried. But the problem with that was that I kind of got a bit of the paint onto the part where it wasn't supposed to be, which is the heart. So you'll see that in just a second. But it did the trick. It stuck the paper down where it was torn, so I guess it isn't that bad. And I think I could have just used the water to remove the paint as well, but I didn't. So I'm using Simon's stamp, I think it's Friendship Greetings if I'm not wrong, but that's the stamp set. And I'm using the I Love You greeting because obviously Valentine's Day. And I'm using the Simon Says stamp black ink to stamp the greeting. I've used this ink before, and many times it actually left some blank spaces, so the greeting wasn't complete and I had to use a pen or something to go over. So this time I kind of inked it up really thoroughly so that wouldn't happen, and luckily enough it stamped very well. So I'm really happy with it. The only thing that happened was my greeting was a little bit slanted because I was trying not to be in the camera's view, and I couldn't really see it properly, so that happened, but I guess it's okay. It's not meant to be perfect anyways. So then I peeled off the masking tape, and it peeled off very well, might I add. Like I said, making it less sticky really does help when you're using masking tape. It does seem to be really sticky, and I don't know if you can see, but it kind of peeled off a bit of the black stuff off my board. And then I felt like the bottom was a bit too long, so I just used my X-Acto knife and my ruler to cut it off. And then I got my card base. It's 11 1/8 inches tall by 4 1/6 inches wide, if I remember correctly. And once I folded it, I kind of realized that it didn't line up very well, so off camera I just went and trimmed it down a little bit to make sure that it just lined up a little bit better. And I also used my X-Acto knife to just kind of bend the edges properly so that it would fold well. And I'm sorry that this part of the video is a little bit blurred, but I didn't realize that it wasn't focused clearly, the irony. But I basically just put on some foam tape and peeled off the backing and stuck it onto the card front. And voila, you have the card. So that is the finished card. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos because I am trying to post every Sunday. If you decide to recreate this card, do send me photos on Twitter and Instagram because I would love to see your versions of this card. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys very soon. Stay awesome, chocolates!